I'm Casper, the voice of the White Sox radio network. Follow the Sox across central Illinois on the Big 1520 WHOW.
Sponsored by Kirby Medical Center, Burgess and Klein Insurance, JW Painting, Dubson Heating and AC, and First Mid, all in Monticello, and Surf Pro of Hyatt DeWitt counties, the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction.
Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton says congratulations to the DeWitt County 4-Hers that brought their animals, displays, and exhibits to this year's fairs. You've made all of us in DeWitt County proud. Hats off to the local 4-Hers for their hard work at this year's fair from Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton, where they offer compassionate care close to home.
Hey, this is Todd Gleason from Illinois Extension here with the time change for our daily market report on WHOW. You can now catch our daily review of the commodity markets at 5:06 on all of WHOW's many platforms. You'll still hear all of our commodity analysts and weather professionals each afternoon, but at a brand new time. And you'll still hear the weekly wrap-up of the commodity markets right here on WHOW when Commodity Week airs Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. Remember the time change for the daily closing market report on WHOW at our new time, 5:06 p.m. weekdays.
News time is 8 minutes after 8 o'clock on this Tuesday. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded 8 o'clock newscast. We streamed to Facebook and YouTube this morning. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Regional Radio News has learned Clinton Mayor Roger Cerulik has submitted his resignation effective this Friday, July 28th. Regional Radio is working to acquire further details about the mayor's abrupt resignation. The mayor submitted his resignation Friday. The Commissioner of Finance acts as the mayor pro tem, and in this case, it falls to Tom Edmonds, who has previously served as Clinton's mayor twice before, in June of 96 until 2003, then again in 2010, both under circumstances of the resignation of the current mayor. The council will appoint a mayor at some point in August. Cerulik was most recently elected mayor in 2015, re-elected for a 4-year term in 2019, and again this past April. The mayor's resignation comes at an important time for the city. Clinton is still seeking to fill a nearly 2-year vacancy in the administrator's chair. Additionally, the city has major projects coming up in the form of the multi-million-dollar water tower project. There will be a special election for the mayor's seat in April 2025, according to the State Board of Elections. DeWitt County Sheriff Mike Walker says last week's Illinois Supreme Court decision regarding the Safety Act to uphold the legislation and eliminate cash bail was not surprising. On the WHOW Morning Show Monday, Sheriff Walker told Regional Radio this bill will be fully implemented in less than 2 months, but there are so many questions associated with it.
Nobody, I think, in law enforcement, state's attorneys, prosecutorial or anything, nobody was surprised. Obviously it is disappointing, but we expected this. It's just like everything, similar to everything else that has gone to the Supreme Court that is put has to go there. It's usually ruled in favor of the state. Unfortunately, they upheld it. I don't understand how. I mean, the Constitution says certain things, and it's an interpretation. The biggest thing we got now is, in less than 2 months, this thing is going to be fully enacted, and there's still questions. What criminal offenses are we going to be able to hold people for? Mm-hmm. Are we going to be allowed to take these people into custody, bring them to jail, process them, and release them? Are we going to have to issue them citations with notice to appears on scene, which we do that, and we don't have all their information, so then that information is not going to be on their criminal history and criminal background. There's a lot of questions. The state's attorney is going to have to be talking with the judge. But, unfortunately, I think what could be an issue also with all these questions is it's a matter of interpretation. When you start interpreting things, our state's attorney and our judge may get together and interpret it one way. Macon County could be interpreted a different way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's going to be all these interpretations, and who's going to be right, who's going to be wrong.
Some may argue the amendment to the bill by not giving the option of cash bail to those accused of certain crimes made it better, but the sheriff contends there's even some gray area there.
Well, yeah, you can say that all you want, but who's to say on these violent offenses if there has to be proof that that person is a threat to someone? Is my opinion, my understanding. So, you know, they go to court the next day and they get an attorney in there and can prove that they're not a threat at this point. They could potentially be released. I mean, there's a lot of things that are still going into this thing. We're going to do what we got to do. The big thing I want people to understand is, you know, you always hear, for years we've heard, you know, we make an arrest and then we take somebody to jail, they bond out, or they're released by the judge or the state's attorney's office. Well, the cops aren't doing anything. Cops aren't doing their job. Well, you know what? People need to realize we are still going to be doing our job, but we're handcuffed. We're not going to be able to do certain. We can't take these people in and put them in jail, even overnight or whatever. They're going to be released. So if somebody, you know, goes down to Save-A-Lot and shoplifts, we're not taking them to jail.
Right.
They could turn, you know, we could trespass them from Save-A-Lot, but that's another one of those offenses. They're not going to be able to be detained. They could turn around and go right back in there.
The sheriff says it's disappointing they aren't going to be able to do much for victims of these crimes, especially business owners who count on the police to make sure perpetrators don't return to commit more crimes in their business.
That's the good question. We're sorry. You know, all the thing we used to say, hey, we're sorry. We're doing what we can. You know, and I fortunately, I think most of the people, the businesses and people are understanding that, you know, one of my biggest fears is, you know, trespassing and thefts and things like that. You know, there's going to be at some point, unfortunately, I think there's going to be some law-abiding citizens that are going to get fed up with having to deal with these same people over and over and take matters in their own hands. You know, that's the thing. They take matters in their own hands. Now, just in general, just as, you know, you get somebody that say you got a storage shed out in your backyard and they come in there and decide they're going to, for some reason you left it unlocked. Now they're going to, you know, start camping in it, or they're trespassing. You know, what are you going to do? I mean, there's going to be people. I hope that people continue to call us and let us deal with it the best that we can. But I really want to have faith in the General Assembly and the legislators that they will look at this and try to, you know, modify some of these things. I know our Sheriff's Association is trying to work on that, but we can only do so much when the people are making the rules have a supermajority.
Sheriff Walker indicates the community is concerned about this legislation for fear of deterioration of public safety. Additionally, the legislation is causing a mass exodus of police from the state. If you've ever wondered how much you earned the year you worked your first job, you can find out by creating your own My Social Security account. Jack Myers with Social Security says it's also a good reminder to make sure your earnings are being reported accurately. The Social Security benefits you will one day receive will be based on your earnings through several years and the Social Security taxes you've paid on those earnings. It is your employer's responsibility to report those earnings to Social Security, but if they do not or make an error in their reports, you will not get credit for those earnings. While it can be fun to look back historically at years of work and see how much or how little you actually earned, you should know when Social Security computes a retirement benefit, they adjust your earnings for inflation and select the 35 highest years to base your benefits on.
But in addition to being interesting and kind of a point of discussion between you and family members, it's also important that you look at that earnings history. And maybe those first couple of years aren't as important in the grand scheme, but when we calculate a benefit from Social Security, you know, one day your retirement benefit or your disability benefit, we're going to be basing it off of your earnings record through your lifetime of work. So for retirement, it's going to be based off your 35 best years. So looking at that earnings record becomes very important to make sure that those earnings were reported properly. It's your employer's responsibility to report those earnings to Social Security. But if they don't do it, or if they make an error in their report, you may not get credit for earnings and taxes that you paid. And
if you, in 2022, if you earn more than $147,000, you stop paying Social Security taxes. Get news anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. A look at local sports is next.
Hey, everybody. Buddy Wilson here, your new country financial agent in Clinton. While we can't do anything about insurance industry rate increases, we still offer the best personal service you deserve. Click on my icon on DeWittDailyNews.com.
Connexus will provide local, reliable, affordable, and speed of light fiber internet to Clinton. Get on the install list now by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Fiber internet is coming to Clinton. Get on the install list now.
Get moving again. Warner Hospital provides award-winning orthopedic health to DeWitt County with Gibson Area Hospital Orthopedics. Your orthopedic health is important, and Dr. Brett Keller specializes in joint replacement, robotic total joint replacements, general orthopedic care, and fracture care. Return to an active lifestyle and a higher quality of living with Gibson Area Hospital Orthopedics. Now seeing patients at the Warner Specialty Clinic in Clinton. To book your appointment with Dr. Keller in Clinton, call 217-784-4030.
Do you know what to do when a car is pulled over on the side of the road?
Get over!
First, reduce your speed. Second, change lanes if possible. Third, proceed with caution. These 3 simple steps can be the difference between life and death.
What if it's you that's on the side of the road? Do you want everybody to move over for you?
Do the right thing. Slow down, move over, and drive like your life and their life depends on it.
DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air and online 24 hours a day. The latest local news stories are heard every hour on Central Illinois' news station, the Big 1520 AM and 92.3 FM WHOW. Stream live at DeWittDailyNews.com. They're also heard every hour on the station that's your easy choice, 95.9 FM WEZC. And to read the latest local news on your electronic device, including tablets, iPhones, and smartphones, go to DeWittDailyNews.com. DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air, online, 24 hours a day.
With SRN Sports, I'm Michael Harrington. We're going to start with Major League Baseball action on the Baltimore Orioles. They've been hot, and they're staying hot after the All-Star break.
Colton Cowser's RBI double at the top of the 9th inning gave the Orioles a 3-2 win over the Phillies. Cowser's double came at the Philadelphia plate at a run in the bottom of the 8th to tie the game at 2. Cowser's game-winning double enabled Baltimore to pick up their 5th win in their last 6 games. Jordan Westberg and Ryan Mountcastle homered for the O's.
That's correspondent Michael Luongo reporting. Elsewhere in interleague play yesterday, it was the Tigers over San Francisco 5-1. Blue Jays got the better of the Dodgers 6-3. In the American League, just 3 games to tell you about. The Royals were too much for Cleveland, 5-3. It was the Twins over Seattle, 4-3. And in a high-scoring affair, Houston got the better of Texas, 10-9. In the National League yesterday, it was Colorado 10 and the Nationals 6. This is SRN Sports. Rounding up the rest of your National League tallies from yesterday, Brewers 3, Reds 2. It was the Pirates over San Diego 8-4, Cardinals 10, and Arizona 6. NFL news, rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud of the Houston Texans and Anthony Richardson of the Indianapolis Colts have both agreed to fully guaranteed 4-year contracts. Richardson, the 4th overall pick in the NFL draft, agreed to a $34 million deal. Both are expected to compete for starting jobs and eventually turn their struggling franchises around, it is hoped. Packers CEO Mark Murphy says it'll probably take at least half a season for the team to know what it has in new starting quarterback Jordan Love. Murphy noted the parallels of 2008. That's when Aaron Rodgers took over as the Packers' starting signal caller. After backing up Hall of Famer Brett Favre for 3 seasons, Rodgers' trade to the New York Jets clears the way for Love to take over. He has made 1 career start so far in the NFL. This is SRN Sports.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. Making the playoffs will be the expectation this fall for the Clinton Maroons football team as the final week of the busy July schedule wraps up this week across the state. For third-year coach Ron Bass and his captains, the expectations are high. Senior captain and quarterback Mason Walker believes the team not only has a chance to make the playoffs, but win a playoff game.
We got a really good chance to win a playoff game this year, so I'm really excited for that, especially for senior year.
Tristan Potts has been very happy with how the team has looked at 7-on-7 competitions and touts the improvements the team has made in the offseason.
Probably just seeing all the improvements we made over this spring in the weight room and on the field and practice, so I'm excited.
Coach Bass says his team has set its goals high, and he looks forward to watching them embark on those goals this fall.
This summer, I'm just excited to just be with the kids and continue our relationships that we've built. And so that's the big thing for July is creating relationships, making sure our coaches are building relationships with their position players and things like that. What I'm looking forward to the season is just the opportunity. These kids have hungry goals. They want to. Their goal is to make the playoffs and win the first playoff game in school history. And they're lofty goals and they're difficult goals. But when I look at where we're at, I think it's within the realm of possibility, or at least have that opportunity. And so we talk about not having have-tos. You have to do this, but you have the opportunity to do this, and just maximizing on those opportunities.
The Maroons will finish the 7-on-7 schedule tonight at Normal West and have their final day of summer camp on Wednesday. After that, Dead Week is July 31st through August 4th, and the season officially gets underway August 7th with the first day of practice. Adam Wainwright threw 5 solid innings in his first start since injury. Paul Goldschmidt hit a 2-run homer and then a tying single in the 9th inning against his former team as the Cardinals rallied for a 10-6 win over the skidding Arizona Diamondbacks on Monday night. It was back and forth that saw Wainwright and the Cardinals lead 5-2 after 5, only to watch the Diamondbacks go ahead 6-5 in the 9th inning. But St. Louis rallied against closer Andrew Chafin, loading the bases with 1 out. That's when Goldschmidt sent a full count pitch into left field for a single that made it 6-all. Chafin then struck out Nolan Arenado for the 2nd out. He walked Lars Nootbaar, which forced home Wilson Contreras for the 7-6 lead. Tyler O'Neill followed with a crucial blow, hitting a 3-run double off Kevin Ginkel. That put the Redbirds up 10-6. St. Louis snapped a 3-game losing streak and moved to 7-4 since the break. Arizona has dropped 5 straight, continuing an extended slide. The D-backs, meanwhile, are 5-13 in July, which could change the team's approach to the rapidly approaching trade deadline on August 1st. Goldschmidt crushed his 17th homer in the first inning to put St. Louis up 2-0, hitting a fastball from Ryan Nelson off the batter's eye far above the 407-foot sign in the center field wall. The veteran first baseman spent his first 8 seasons with the Diamondbacks, making 6 All-Star teams before being traded to the Cardinals after the 2018 season. It was Goldschmidt's 104th career homer at Chase Field, the most for any player since the park opened in 1998. Arizona scored a run in both the first and second innings to tie the game at 2. Corbin Carroll hit a sac fly. Alec Thomas had a 2-out single that scored Emmanuel Rivera. At Wainwright returned to the mound after 3 weeks on the shelf with a right shoulder strain. He got better as the outing progressed, retiring 9 hitters in a row at one point. He went 5 innings, even dropping down for a sidearm delivery at times. He gave up 2 runs on 4 hits and threw 76 pitches. He left with a 5-2 lead and was in line for his 199th career win, but the bullpen could not hold it. The Diamondbacks scored twice in the 6th inning, cutting the margin to 6-4 and pushed ahead 6-5 in the 7th on Evan Longoria's pinch hit 2-run double off Giovanni Gallegos. The 37-year-old is a 3-time All-Star who has turned into a valuable role player this season in the desert. Nelson gave up 5 runs on 8 hits over 6 innings. The series continues tonight. The Diamondbacks are expected to send Merrill Kelly to the mound, though the Diamondbacks will need to make a roster move to bring him off the injured list. The Cardinals will counter with Steven Matz. The Chicago White Sox will open a brief 2-game set with their crosstown rival Cubs tonight.
The White Sox finished the week plus after the All-Star break with a 3-7 record. After beating the Atlanta Braves 2-1, the White Sox dropped 2 of 3 to the Mets and were swept by the division-leading Minnesota Twins to finish out the weekend. Zach Remillard hit his first big league home run. Luis Robert continues to stay hot. Tim Anderson and Andrew Benintendi are proving formidable at the top of the lineup. But the White Sox are now 41-60 on the season. An off day Monday, then the White Sox return home to face the Cubs for 2 games at Guaranteed Rate Field, then the Cleveland Guardians for 4 games to end the month of July. The Sox are off the final day of the month, then the trade deadline on August 1st could shake up a lot of teams throughout Major League Baseball. You can catch every White Sox game right here on the Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
And here tonight's action versus the Cubs right here on WHOW. Get the latest in sports anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace now offers free assembly and free delivery. So